In this video, we'll look at working with multiple worksheets within the same Excel workbook. So when you create a new document, you actually usually just have one sheet, but you'll notice there's a little plus next to there, and you can actually create new sheets, and they're all identical blank sheets, and you can have lots and lots of them, though of course it can become quite hard to manage if you've got piles and piles down at the bottom here. If we go to another one here, this one's already got two sheets, but the second one is blank. So you've got different options that you can do with right-clicking on a sheet. You can delete a whole sheet. Because it had nothing in it, Excel will not complain. So you can't have no worksheets in a workbook, so you must have one. But if I'm trying to delete this one that has data in it, Excel will say it will permanently delete this sheet because it actually does have data in it. So I'm going to cancel that. Your other options when you right-click on a sheet, you've got Insert, which will insert a sheet or various other things that you can insert, but much quicker obviously to click the plus. But you also have options to rename the sheet, so whatever, or you can simply double-click on the sheet name there. You also have protection and various other options that will look. You can hide a whole sheet as well. You can select multiple sheets, and you can also change the colors, which can be useful, and it only really shows up when you have when you're on another sheet, but it can be useful to sort of color code if you've got a lot of sheets happening there. You can drag them around to reorder them. Just click on the tab and drag it around, and the little arrow will show you where it's going to drop. If you want to duplicate a sheet, you've got two options. You can right click and choose move or copy, and then you can move it there, or say create a copy and choose where it's going to be. It will be before the one that you select. You can also copy it or move it to a completely different workbook. So it's useful if you want to do it there. Alternatively, if you just want to make a copy inside this worksheet, you can hold Control and then click and drag, and you'll see you now get a plus there, and it will make a completely new sheet, but with the same data and the same name with just a 2 there. So that's a very quick way to duplicate sheets. Something else you may wish to do on a sheet as a whole is to change the view so that if you have a longer sheet, when you scroll down, the headings stay up top, and that's something called freezing panes, which you can find under the View menu. And there's a button called Freeze Panes, and there's an option to freeze the top row or the first column, or you can choose the first option, which says Freeze Panes, and that will freeze everything above and to the left of where you've selected. So you'll see it creates a very slight gray line, but when you scroll down, then anything that was above where we'd selected is now frozen. Similarly, if we scroll to the right hand side, those first 3 columns are frozen. So that's really useful in longer documents. You may also wish to protect parts of a sheet. So that's under Review, and you've got here Protection Options, and you can protect a whole worksheet and ask for a password. Of course, it's important to know what the password is so that you don't lose access to your own worksheet or workbook. And what that does is actually it doesn't prevent us from changing the data in the sheet, but it does prevent us from deleting sheets, for instance. So if you want to protect the actual data, you use the Protect Sheet option. When you click on that, again, it gives you the password option, and it lets you choose what you can do. So anything that's ticked will be available. So deleting rows, deleting columns, selecting cells, etc., etc. So if we do it like that, we will be unable to actually make any changes. Okay, if we unprotect the sheet, turn it off again, what you can do is allow edit ranges. So I'm going to click on that, and we can choose what we can edit and what we can't. So I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to select these cells here, and I'm not going to apply a password. I'll click OK, and then I'm going to protect the sheet, and we can still select locked or unlocked cells, but we can't do anything else. I'll click OK, and now I should be able to change these marks, but not these areas that are protected. And of course, to undo that, you would just unprotect the sheet, and that prevents unwanted or accidental changes to your worksheet. Finally, if you want to work with worksheets and use calculations across different worksheets, all you have to do is, for instance, if you're in a different sheet, you could simply link to another cell in the sheet. So if I just type in equals and then click on the sheet, you'll see it immediately puts in a term 1, which was the name of this sheet. And then I could select any cell and you'll see the number or the cell reference goes in there, press enter, and it automatically picks it up. And you can see it's not actually that data, it's this reference. If I then change this person's name, it should update in this reference cell here. You can also do calculations across sheets. So if I wanted to know the average of all the marks, I could do the calculation here. Then click on the sheet, and again it picks up the sheet name there, select the cells in question, and it is important now to either put the comma or finish the calculation with the bracket. If we switch back to sheet 5, then it's going to adjust the title to be sheet 5. So we want it to still say term 1, so then I'm going to finish the calculation and press enter, and there it will, you can see the name of the sheet is indicated by the name there, and if it's got a space, it will put single quotes around it and then an exclamation mark, and then it will have the cell range as normal. And that's how you do a quick calculation across different sheets.